More people, particularly sexual minority parents, are creating families using donor gametes. There's a great curiosity about the relationship between these offspring and their donors. There's a knowledge gap about the relationships between adult donor insemination offspring of sexual minority parents and their donors. We only recently have access to this information due to cultural and historic trends. Donor insemination has only been available to lesbian women for such a time that their offspring are reaching adult age in substantial numbers only recently. Open identity sperm donation has been available on a similar timeline, such that offspring have been able to initiate donor contact only fairly recently. They can do this starting at age 18. Access to donor insemination by lesbians was quite restricted when it first started 25 to 30 years ago, so data is scanty. To address this gap in knowledge, we have the U.S. National Longitudinal Lesbian Family Study, designed to follow the first generation of planned lesbian families in the U.S. from conception into adulthood. It is the largest and longest prospective investigation of sexual minority parent families who have been surveyed periodically since 1992. In the most recent sixth wave, and the first one since the offspring have become adults, we asked 76 offspring averaging age 25 how they felt about having an unknown donor. And if they had a known donor, at what age did they meet? Is there an ongoing relationship? And what is that relationship like? How do they feel about their donor? So the answers are offspring with unknown donors, meaning permanently unknown or open identity donors that they chose not to meet. They felt more comfort than discomfort. Genealogic bewilderment, which has been described in adopted offspring with unknown parentage, was not found. The offspring of our study have had equal psychological health to matched controls. We feel that early disclosure and family discussions with the children on the rationale for selecting a certain type of donor have contributed to these positive feelings. Offspring with open identity donors, there were 8 of them out of 24 who met at a mean age of 20. So only 1/3 met when they were able to. Other studies of open identity sperm donation suggest that few offspring will seek contact at later ages. What about offspring with known donors, so those known since childhood or recently met open identity donors? The main sentiment is positive. They had a good relationship, had good feelings. Satisfaction ratings were high and were equal between offspring of always known and recently met donors. Conflict or reservations were expressed in about 1/5, and they involved mismatched expectations. For example, the offspring wishing the donor were more similar to them, or the offspring sensing the donor's disapproval of their career choices. In conclusion, transparency with age-appropriate and ongoing discussions with offspring about their parents' donor choices contribute to positive or comfortable feelings about donors regardless of family structure or donor type. And for future study, because our longitudinal group is of largely white, high socioeconomic status lesbian parents, what about donor relationships within other types of sexual minority parent families? And an interesting newer area, now that there's increasing affirmation for a child's right to know their genetic origins, more availability of open identity gamete donors, and access to mail-order DNA testing and online registries to help people find their genetic relatives, what are these relationships like between the offspring and their discovered gamete donors, even if those donors originally intended to remain anonymous? And what about other relatives, such as half-siblings? So, I hope you find this article to be interesting and clinically helpful. Thank you very much.